Hey, well, welcome. I guess you could say this is the pilot episode of the Bitter Upper Lip Beer Reviews and Discussion channel. Thank you very much for joining me. So, quick background, I'm recording this on March 26, 2020. So, as I'm sure that I can empathize with the rest of y'all, I am stuck in the middle of the quarantine right now due to the coronavirus. So, I figured what better time than any to kick off a long delayed hobby that I've been wanting to do for many years now, which is actually just go ahead and kick off my beer review channel. So, a little bit about me, I'm in my 30s. I have been drinking craft beer legally and otherwise for many years now. It is a passion of mine. I've I'm a tier one Cicerone certification recipient, so I'm a certified beer server. There was a time when I seriously thought about going into the brewing industry many years ago. I did not pursue that, but I have remained an ardent and enthusiastic hobbyist in the field. I am based in Georgia. I've lived in and out of Atlanta throughout the years, but I'm originally from North Georgia. At the time of recording this, though, I am currently in Macon, Georgia, attending law school. So in between of doing my classes online, I thought, let's go ahead and give myself a constructive distraction into something I like that has nothing to do with dicta or res judicata or any of that other legalese. So laying just up, obviously, the terms that I'm about to talk about are subject to change, as this is, I guess, you could say episode 0 of the many episodes to go. So there are three main points I wanted to talk about of what I really am looking to structure this channel around. It's what I intend to do with the channel, what I have no intention of doing with the channel, and of course, what I hope will occur with the channel, just future goals. And of course, this could be subject to change as the channel ages and grows. But just starting off, just so you know where we stand. So what I intend to do with the channel first and foremost is, of course, as you'd expect, highlight craft beer from around the world. Varying styles, profiles. I want to do, of course, your big releases from Sierra Nevada, for example, all the way down to small, tiny little microbreweries that are regional. And that is actually one element of this channel that I would like to do. Being based in Georgia right now, I would like to try to highlight more regional brews and lesser known brand brews. As I'm sure many of y'all have done before, if you're going on like certain beer subreddits or other forums, you'll get that classic post like, hey, visiting my family, we're driving through Alabama or we're driving through North Carolina. I'm from Pennsylvania. I don't know what y'all drink down there. What should I try? So I've always thought that some medium like this could be very informative to someone of actually showing them the different beers that if they were in a gas station even or some other type of package store, it might be a beer they would just walk by, never even thought of, because they're not privy to how good it is because it's a small, regionally distributed beer. So if I can possibly highlight maybe what your new favorite beer is, that you would never read about on Beer Advocate or Rate Beer or anything like that, then all the better for it. Also think that regional beers, much like food in cuisine, of course, create a very interesting profile of the region of which a beer is being made. Um, in the South and what we're growing. I mean, you've got now a lot of farm collective beers that are growing their own types of crops for beers that might involve agriculture that you don't see in certain parts of the country. And not even just reviews. I would also like to have open discussions about the industry, certain trends that are happening with certain beers, I don't want this channel to be a finger waving type endeavor. I don't want it to be necessarily a channel that you feel like you come to and it's me telling you what to think about certain beers. That's why I'm going to intend to leave comment sections open. I want your honest take on things. And with that, I'd also like the channel to be a bit of an educational resource, possibly. And I say that without any sense of ivory tower sentimentality. I am ever a student. I'm always learning new things about beers and the industry. So by education, I mean it's bilateral. I want to possibly enlighten y'all to certain facts as much as I would like y'all to do that for me so that I can grow with y'all. And probably last but not least on the intentions, I want to make very clear the way that I'm intending to rate beers that I review will not have a numeric system attached to them. I know certain channels do that and it works for them and that's great. But have personally found in my time of trying to analyze a beer and eloquate what I think about it, taking something so subjective as whether you do or don't like the smell, the color, the taste, the mouthfeel, all of those sensory elements that come into experiencing beer are subjective at the end of the day. I mean, they are your opinions and perceptions. So then trying to take that and turn it into something empirical and objective as the number 4 or an 8, I find a lot of times is trying to put a square peg in a round hole. So I'm going to very quite literally, if I try a beer, I'm either going to tell you I liked it, didn't like it, would I recommend it to people? And I've had certain beers where I didn't really enjoy drinking them much, but I found them to be very good for other uses like cooking or even making cocktails out of potentially. So yeah, there will be no numbers. There'll be no like, you know, there will be no gradients. It's just going to be general small talk of how I address whether I do or don't enjoy a beer. So now moving on to what I have no intention of doing with the channel. To the best of my ability, I'm absolutely not going to give any type of big beer brands a platform on this channel. And with the nature of how the craft beer industry is right now, with it seems like every day a new small brewery has sold out to a large conglomerate. And so it can be tricky keeping up with who owns who. So I will make good faith and honest attempts to make sure that I'm not reviewing giant conglomerate brews. And to that end, I guess an example that I've always thought was a good standard of review of why I don't want to do that. Years ago, some of y'all might remember there was a craft brewery, in North Carolina, specifically Asheville, called Wicked Weed. Many of y'all have probably had some of their beers at this point. Renowned for their sours when they came out of the gate. They grew extremely fast. Anheuser-Busch essentially bought them up. There's a very well-known craft beer bar in Atlanta called the Porter, which I enjoy greatly and have been to for many, many years. They put out a statement because it was such a shock when Wicked Weed sold out that they were not going to carry their beer anymore. And the Porter's reasoning for this was very succinct but on point. They essentially said, Wicked Weed doesn't need us anymore. They don't need us as a business to get their beer sold now because they've got the money of Anheuser-Busch for their distribution and their marketing and their employment. They don't need us tapping kegs to get people to know their brand and get them in. So similarly, I want this channel to be a platform where people can come and, as I mentioned earlier, like learn of a beer they've never heard before and feel compelled to maybe go try a beer that they've never had before. You don't need me to come in here and basically talk about the new Shock Top variant or Bud Light's new variant of a Coolada that they're releasing. So, moving on from that, I also do not intend to waste your time and be doing reviews of. They're not troll reviews, but it's one of those like you've got someone who's reviewed like hundreds and hundreds of beers, and now they're reviewing some type of weird like Bud Light variant. It's like you all know how that review is going to end. They're going to say they hate it. They're going to talk about it being metallic tasting and all this. So, again, I'm not going to waste your time by reviewing beers that, one, I don't want to give a platform to, and two, beers that we pretty much all know are going to suck, and I'm not going to like them. So, I'm not going to do that. And last and not least, on the what I have no intention of doing is I do not want to be an arbiter of the whale hunting culture that is so proliferative in craft beer. And for those of you who don't know, the whale hunting analogy basically is referencing to Moby Dick and the idea that, of course, in that story, Ahab is searching the globe for Moby Dick, and he essentially is like losing his leg and his mind to trying to hunt down Moby Dick. Such is the case that a lot of craft beer enthusiasts will do, where they go whale hunting, driving behind distribution trucks, going to every store they can hours before opening to try to find that bottle of Dark Lord or six-pack of Hop Slim or whatever it is that they're hunting, basically making themselves enslaved to the acquisition of. Years ago, I did that for a short bit, and by a short bit, for like a week, because I was trying to find a particular beer, which I will not name, and I had a wake-up call of how stupid it was. At the end of the day, we all love beer, but that's all it is. It's a drink, is what it is. So to that end, also, I don't want to add to the hysteria and demand of hearing about people shelling out $50+ a bottle for certain beers, or in a lot of ways, some breweries that I won't name purposely tamping down the supply so that they can ramp up the demand and charge exorbitant amounts for beers that we damn well know they could produce more of, but they won't. So to that end, if I potentially have a very rare beer that I would like to review for you, I will. You can check out my Twitter. I'll probably put out notifications letting you know that I have it. I'll make it a bit of a special event if I come across it. But that being said, if like some avant-garde variant of like Hunahpu comes out from like Cigar City, I'm not going to be driving down to Tampa to pick up a bottle just so y'all can watch me drink it respectfully. If I come across it, great, but if I don't, oh well. So, and to close this out, and not make this video go on too much longer than it needs to, what I hope will occur with the channel. So, of course, I hope you, the audience, will be able to teach me something. You can call that selfish if you want, but I feel like in leaving this channel open and creating a platform where people from all around the world can leave comments, share their experiences, I stand to benefit from that. Because again, y'all, the collective brain pool of all of y'all's drinking together, the things that you've tried, I stand to benefit with y'all enlightening me to that. And on the flip side, if I can also extend that to y'all, I want to do that. Also, with that, I want to discover new and exciting beers. As I mentioned earlier, if there are parts of the country that I'm planning to travel to that I know next to nothing about their brewing culture, I'm looking for maybe having y'all inform me of some stuff that I can try. And then, of course, last but not least, pie in the sky as it might be, build a community. I would like this to be a channel where people feel like they can come. They can bring a little bit of cynicism with them, hence the channel name, if you didn't pick up on that from me already a little bit. But do it in a positive sense. Do it in a sense where people feel like they can come and their honest opinions are not going to be derided because they're going against the grain. I don't want this to be a channel where because someone is giving an off meta opinion on a beer that's supposed to taste like the second coming. They don't like it, they're getting flamed. I don't want that to happen. So I want this to be an all-inclusive, open community. So with that being said, again, I appreciate y'all stopping by the channel. Bear with me. I'm trying to learn out this YouTube thing, and hopefully we'll be able to learn and go through this process together and have some fun on the way. So thanks again for tuning in. Hope you enjoy it.